Good afternoon, Mr. Fanidhar. Could you please just quickly introduce yourself? Okay. Could we? It's fine if we can proceed with the session. So, could you please tell me your questions? Then, accordingly, I can address the queries that you have. So I'll just answer one question that many people might be having about the pattern of the exams. So the exam is a short answer type exam. It has some MCQs and it also has some short answer, objective answer questions. And some of the questions require calculators, so you might have to do some calculations and write the numeric value as the answer. And some of the other questions will have interpretation kind of questions, or they might also test your concepts and knowledge. There are very few questions which might be slightly advanced, but that's only very few. That's just to add to your knowledge. But all the questions will be MCQ or short answer kind of questions.
Good afternoon, madam. This
Good
is
afternoon.
Fanidhar, madam.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I am the PA scholar in the JNT Anantapuram.
Nice to meet you.
So we are. I am first time going through this predictive modeling and this course, madam. So I basically my background is electrical engineering.
Okay.
So a little bit confused about the week 1, week 2, the terminology. I am not familiar with those concepts. So, can you provide any basic textbook so that I can quickly go to that whatever the level of teaching that your concepts you are explaining?
Okay. So I think the textbooks are already posted on the course outline. But additionally, I can share the textbooks with the NPTEL team and they can post it on the course webpage. Okay. But good to know that you are taking a lot of interest in this course.
This is now the upcoming topics everywhere. People are regression topics that people are doing predictions. So just to aware to have the knowledge about how the things are happening, to know that I enrolled. But when I get into that, it is quite advanced.
Okay, so I will post textbooks and reference books. But anyways,
Okay.
they are there in the first course outline, either in the video
Yes, madam.
or on the material.
Yes, madam. Means there are many textbooks are there because within this short time,
Hmm.
which book is best way to so that I can quickly come to that understanding. That is, many books are there. I cannot refer all the things within this short time, no, madam. That is why I am asking.
Okay, so there is a book by Montgomery that covers all the regression topics. And
Okay.
for the PCA factor analysis, you can go through the Anderson book, T.W.
Okay, madam.
Anderson book for multivariate.
Okay.
And for regression, Montgomery is will be much simpler to understand. Draper and
Okay.
Smith will have a lot of mathematical proofs, etc.
Okay.
But Montgomery would be good to start with.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
Okay,
Madam,
but
one
good to
more
know that.
request.
Yes, please.
Could you please keep mono answers, madam, compared to multi answers? Because this terminology is everything means almost similar. We are I'm a bit confused about this. That is the only request.
Okay. Most of the MCQs have mono answers only, like single answers.
Week 1, week 2, almost like a poly answers. Quizzes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Oh, so do we have any further questions from Harsha, Kanak? Is everyone having being comfortable with using R? So if you want a textbook for R, there is a book called R for Everyone. That is an introductory textbook for using R. So if you want to refer to some textbook for R, then that's the book you can use.
Can you throw some light on the application side, madam, where we can apply this instead of math? Means other than the mathematically you are explaining. Can you throw some light in other application side where you can apply this clustering and for practice, madam?
Yeah. So they can be used on any data set which is fairly decent in size. Um, suppose we have a data set on COVID patients and COVID camps need to be organized. We cannot have a lot of camps for every small village. But if we know the population, the kind of COVID patients, or any kind of patients, it can also be polio vaccination, etc. So suppose we have a few villages where all the kids are already vaccinated, then we may not want to have a camp over there again. It doesn't have to be for polio; can be for anything. Then one can use clustering and find out where the resources can be allocated uh, in a more efficient way. So we can do that if we find out the nearby villages where more vaccines are needed. So these are required when we have limited resources, which is usually the case for a lot of problems and issues. And we can use clustering to decide which clusters where we can send a camp, and one camp uh, can operate for multiple villages depending on the distance, depending on the number of cases and people to be vaccinated, etc.
The I in week 3, madam.
Hmm.
This multi if you are having multiple targets,
Okay.
because in week 3 you explain only the single target and the single independent predator and a single outcome.
Hmm.
And suppose if you are having a multiple outputs.
Yes, so in week 3, we have covered simple and multiple regression. Both of them have just one target feature or just one response. Simple regression only has one independent variable, and multiple regression has multiple independent variables. But as I understand, your question is what if we have multiple dependent variable, multiple targets? So that will come under multivariate regression. That is also possible to do, and we do multiple regression when we have multivariate regression when we have multiple targets, and those target features are also some way correlated with each other. So let's say we are trying to model the height, weight, blood pressure of different patients or different people, then we can think of multivariate regression. On the other hand, if we are trying to model totally unrelated features, for example, like orange prices in Nagpur and potato prices in Delhi, so then they are unrelated. So in cases like that, we don't have to do multivariate regression, we can do separate regression models. But if the multiple targets are correlated with each other, we can do multivariate regression. That is beyond the scope of the course. The course covers only simple regression and multiple regression, wherein we have only one target, but sometimes we have only one predictor, sometimes we have multiple predictors. And a lot of the times people are interested in one target feature only. So that's why that is the more common one that gets used.
Because sometimes some system performance simultaneous leave multiple performance parameters to attain. There we
Hmm.
require multiple targets.
Yes, as I said, there will be cases where you may have multiple targets, and that will come under multivariate regression, but that is not covered in this course. This course, we are covering only simple and multiple regression because they are more popular, and they are, popular because they are used more commonly, because people are interested in uh, single targets. But if you do have multiple targets which are correlated with each other, we can definitely use multivariate regression.
No more last doubt, madam. Logistic
Hmm.
regression, can you explain?
We will be covering logistic regression probably in week 7 or 8 something. I don't exactly remember the timeline, but we'll be covering logistic regression in detail.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. But good to know about your interest in this course, and you are thinking about this course in detail.
Ma'am, one book is Introduction to Linear Regression Analysis, madam.
Okay.
One more book, something is specified, madam.
Could you tell me the author of the first book?
Montgomery.
Yeah, so that is the book I'm talking about. So if you want to read one book, then that book will be good for regression.
For this course, this book is enough, madam, or anything.
No, that mainly covers regression, simple and multiple regression. For the PCA factor analysis and all, you can refer to Anderson. And for logistic regression, I might have mentioned another book, probably by Hosmer or Lemeshaw. So because we are covering different topics, so that's why we need different books. But the majority of the topics is regression, and you'll find it in the Montgomery book.
Anderson, madam.
Hmm.
For a principal comment.
Yeah.
Not finding in the reference textbooks.
Okay, I'll post some more books for PCA, FA, etc.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have more questions from Harsha? Okay, so if there are no further questions, then we can maybe wrap up. Okay, I think NPTEL Studio, we can close this session because probably there are not no more questions. We don't have questions in the chat box also.
Okay, I can stop the live and end the stream.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.